Guys, it's me, Andrew here, and you'll notice something a little bit different. I have one of our good favorite stalkers of the show, Devin Collins. How are you?
Not too bad. And yourself?
We're doing really good today. Today, we're actually going to be talking about Battlefield 6, and I brought him on because he's been playing it for a really long time. I've started with Bad Company 2, for me, personally. What about yourself?
Since the OG, 1942. So I've been playing for 23 years.
I'm gonna say a lot longer than me. That's for sure. Either way, it's been, I think this game launched on the 10th, so it's been about 2 weeks now that we've had it. Put some time into it. We kind of wanted to get into our overall feelings, the goods, the bads. I know for people it's a little bit off-putting when people are negative or critical of the game, so I just kind of want to get out ahead because I like to start with the negatives of something that I love. That I love this game, and I think you're kind of the same sentiment.
Yep, 100%.
So without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into the negatives because I'd rather end on the positive notes for something that's so good. But this game, as good as it is, does have, I think, some glaring downsides to me. I'm sure some of the stuff they could fix, but I didn't want to sit here and nitpick all these little things. We've both been playing on Xbox, so I haven't had any issues. I know some people have stuff fall into the maps, whatever. I personally haven't had that. I jump for more big things that I think would be considered like a universal problem. My biggest one, as of right now, is actually going to be the menu, the UI. It is just so hard to find anything, whether that be you're looking through the challenges, looking for a certain kind of game mode, just anything. I'll get confused because you go down to multiplayer, but then there's like a preferred upfront multiplayer that has different matches that are down in the other one that you can't find, and I just have a hard time looking for it sometimes.
Yeah, I agree for the most part, especially specifically the settings for me. Anytime I want to change anything to do with settings, I got to go through 17 different things, and I feel like sometimes the same settings in 4 different places. So that's my biggest complaint. They gotta streamline the setting options. It's great they give you a bunch of options, but you got to be able to find them.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely, again, it just transcends beyond like just the menu from when you first turn on the game, because then it goes into the challenges, then it goes into if you're just trying to go through your settings. I feel like the squad management's kind of fine, but I mean, even that's like the most basic thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
That one shouldn't be too bad. My other big negative that almost kind of leads into this, and again, there is a case for people to like it, not like it. I personally am of the mind that Battlefield should be closed weapons. I understand if you're an open weapons kind of guy, if you're not familiar with Battlefield, what that means is if you're playing a certain class, if you're playing a medic, you might only be able to use LMGs. You can't be a medic with a sniper sitting in the back, throwing down heal boxes on top of yourself, and just continually healing if you happen to take a chest pass from across the map.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I get why they did it. I feel like the majority of people wouldn't enjoy that, but that's kind of what made Battlefield special back in the days. It's like you kind of have you're picking your role and you're playing that role. You know, you aren't a sniper running around with an LMG and stuff, which isn't the end of the world, but it does take a little bit away from kind of that Battlefield feel for me.
I want to say that this is what leads into the UI problem for me, is because they did say, hey, you know what, we are going to have closed weapons game modes and open weapons game modes for everybody, so that way you can do the best. But it almost seems like they just buried the closed weapons. You really have to go and like look for it, and it's hard to find sometimes. It's not up front like it is with every other game mode. So it's almost like, okay, like if you guys are just trying to get rid of it, then get rid of it. I don't think, I'd have to go back unless I'm remembering wrong, but I think Battlefield 4 was the first one that kind of opened it up a little bit, but I don't think you could be a medic with a sniper, but they had like the single shot rifles like the SVD and stuff like that, so some classes you could use multiple weapons, and I thought that was better than a medic with a sniper or, you know, assault with, you know, whatever the case may be for how you're trying to mix it up.
If I remember right, it was kind of the happy medium where it was like certain things like engineer could only use SMGs, but there was certain things like carbines or DMRs or other certain guns that could be used on but each one, you know, snipers could only use snipers. You know, support could only use LMGs, but they did have like the shotguns and stuff like that every class could use. So I thought that was the perfect happy medium.
And that's kind of what I would like to go back to. Is like, if you're at least not going to give me everything, then just do like a happy little bit of a medium. So that I think that's just my biggest thing. Is you just, and it throws off the balance because you have too many, instead of one medic ignoring me and not reviving me. I've got 6 medics ignoring me and reviving me now because they're all just busy doing whatever it is they're doing or sniping versus actually playing the role they're meant to. And I think it kind of creates more of an imbalance too, because people are less likely to change for what you need, because there's lots of times where there's like a tank out there, and so I'll change off the medic into like assault or something so that way I can fight it and try to destroy it, but sometimes it feels like I'm the only one doing it.
Yep.
And I know that that is a problem with the game kind of before, as people playing a role, but now that's just further introduced, like, okay, all my favorite guns, all my favorite things are right here, why am I even going to bother?
I felt like I had a little more of the, I'm playing a medic, my goal is to heal. Whereas now it's kind of like, I feel like, alright, you know, I'll play the medic because of the gadgets, and then decide what gun I kind of want from there.
Yeah, it just creates like a weird imbalance that takes away from the battlefield feeling. I think my next big one for me too is I like a lot of the maps. I don't know that I love them all though. It just feels almost kind of like they played it safe, and if that's what it took to get us back to this only in Battlefield feeling, then that's fine. But I feel like I'd be remiss to not say anything, because I feel like some of them are just like kind of like straightforward, especially depending on what game mode you play. It just feels, I don't want to say not Battlefield, but with each iteration, usually you look forward to that new thing, those new maps. Those are the big front and center things. And I don't feel like there's any here that I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is crazy, this is good. I'm glad they took what Battlefield is and took it to the next level. It's almost like they took it a step back just to iron everything out.
Yeah, I personally really like the maps. Most of the maps, I would say. My biggest problem is, and you kind of get this with everyone, but it depends on the mode. You know, like, overall, I like the maps, but it's like, yeah, there's this map that I hate on Breakthrough. There's this map that I hate on Squad Death, or whatever it is, but, you know, overall, I personally, besides a couple outliers, I've been pretty happy with them overall.
And this one's a little more of a, I guess, a little more of a nitpick, but I think it is kind of a big deal, and it plays into the maps, is the way that they look. Like usually when you play to Battlefield, like the step up from Battlefield to Battlefield 3 to 4, I'm like, oh man, this is gorgeous. Hardline, I think I remember looked better, but when you jumped into Battlefield 1, each new Battlefield, even 5 and the 2042, looked better and like impressive, where I feel like this one's just kind of like drab. Even when you step outside, like a lot of the color palettes are like super muted. It could easily be fixed. I've seen some people with mock-ups just adding like color back into the map, and it's just like, I don't know why they just seem to like, I don't need it to be colorful like Fortnite or anything, but if I look outside and see a tree and it looks like it's dying in the middle of, you know, July in California, it should be green and thriving.
Yeah, really the only thing, just going back quick to the maps too, like, I think that I liked a lot of the ones that I have more of a problem with is kind of the bigger, more open ones, in the sense of, without that destruction, it kind of doesn't feel as special. Whereas, like, a lot of these maps that are like, you know, you're running through the city streets with all these buildings you can go into, there's all this, whereas there's some of the other ones, I can't remember off the top of my head their names, but there's some that are just open fields, or they have the big concrete buildings that you can't do as much with, so I think I still enjoy them, but I'd say those are my least favorite, because it's getting back to feeling a little more like the 2042 maps, in the sense of there's not as much playground for destruction.
It's funny because I remember at 1.2, especially when 4 first came out, I was so tired of hearing the word Levolution, Levolution, Levolution. They just said it all the time that I'd kill to hear Levolution again.
Yeah, honestly, I like the big stuff. I mean, I would rather have the destruction we have now than only the Levolution, but no, I do miss some of the bigger things where a whole skyscraper comes down, or a dam breaks, or something like that.
I'm glad they brought, that's the one that stands out to me. I remember watching the reveal for Battlefield 4. I'm like, okay, like, it just looks like more Battlefield, it looks really great, it looks cool. It was the first moment from jumping 360 to the next Xbox, the one at the time, that I was like, this is next gen, is when they showed off that Siege of Shanghai, and the skyscraper falls out, but you have 32 on 32 people, and then it just changes that whole dynamic of the middle of the map, and I'm like, dude, this is it. And some of the stuff they did wasn't as good with the maps, but I liked flooding them sometimes and just be roaring through the streets instead of infantry. Now you have to use like jet skis and everything's fighting on the roof instead of on the floors. Like, they did a lot of really cool, fun stuff, and it just seems like they didn't really do that here. But I guess I understand, though, if it was just to get it back to feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah, and they could always add that to future maps or something like that as well. Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully so. My
Yeah.
last big one for me, and then we'll jump over to any you got. Maybe I missed something. For me, is the aggressive spotting. It's better than it was in the beta, but I feel like it's still really bad. Especially, there's tons of times where like I'm out there running, and I know that someone wasn't even looking at me, but the orange blip popped up above my head to mark me because I'm in their field of view, and so they just turned and shot me. I know there's no way they saw me, or there's times where like I could be laying down because I'm just maybe pushing a little too far forward, so I'll lay down so that way I can wait for them to pass and try to come up behind them, and they'll just see me, and I know that the only way, and it happens to me too, that I'll be playing and I only see somebody because of that aggressive spotting. It's just so aggressive.
Yeah. I think especially with all the snipers, where they just look at you and they're pinged, it's like, that's probably what you're dying to, is you're sneaking up on someone, but someone half across the map kind of saw you, or the drones and all that. There's so much stuff that can spot you.
I don't even mind like the drones and the tools and stuff like that, but a lot of times it just seems like, again, I'm dying to a medic because everyone's just playing the medic because it's going down health for everybody. But it's so aggressive. They did tune it back from how it was in the beta, but I think you just need to take it and do it back just a little bit more, or to maybe if you're aiming, you got to be aiming directly at them or something. I don't really know how you fix it personally. For me, I would prefer the way it was, that people are only pinged if you ping them yourself, then they show up for like, your teammates and everybody. That's the way I would prefer it to be. And maybe they should do something as far as like, I think maybe what would be the perfect balance is maybe after you hit like a certain level that goes away or something like that, because then it's more skill based, and by that point maybe you should be doing better. But I know you said like, oh, your son, and especially once he gets older and is playing, that wouldn't really be beneficial to him no matter how long he's playing. He's going to rank up. So I don't know where like a happy medium in there would be.
Maybe something. I don't think it would really make sense, but like if you put a silencer on your gun, you're harder to ping or something. Make something that maybe makes it harder for them to ping you, or it takes twice as long at looking at you, or something like that. Could maybe be a good balance.
That's it for me. Like I said, I got way more positives than I do negatives, but I felt like we had to bring up some of these. I felt like that some of them are pretty big. Do you have anything maybe I didn't miss that for you? It feels like, damn.
I have a couple of quick ones. I mean, besides like I've come into random glitches, which nothing like crazy, but I do have like a dead zone glitch, which I thought was my controller, and then I've seen other people complain about it.
Are you talking about as soon as you load into the map, when it gives you the overall map and your cursor just juts out to the right?
Yes.
Is that a dead zone problem? Because it does that for everybody.
It
I thought
does.
my controller was broken.
I've had it in other cases too. So that's the only reason, like trying to select people who to spawn on and stuff, sometimes that kind of spazzes out a little bit, but nothing the end of the world. I'm sure they'll fix that. Resetting parts on some of the package weapons I've had, where at the beginning of every round I've had the reset. Again, not the end of the world, they can fix it. Probably the last two that like actually a little more in-depth is some of the challenges. I'm definitely not one of those. I don't have a problem with 90% of the challenges. I'm not sitting in bot lobbies the whole time and all that stuff, but there's just some that seem a little aggressive, but they're already fixing it, like the sniping, 150 headshot kills from 200 plus meters. It's hard to do because there's most maps you can't even do that on, and then instead of helping your team, you're sleeping up in a mountain. But, they're already fixing those and addressing those. I think they did go a little, instead of 150, now it's 5 kills. I think that's a little too far in the other direction, but, and I'd say lastly, which again, is a really hard one to do, but I would love to see better curating of the portals. I do love, like, the Friday night Battlefield where they have kind of a spotlight, but I would love if there was some system that, like, show me some of the... I'm seeing all these cool ones people are making on TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff, but I don't really know how to find them. They're not showcased anywhere, so I do hope that's something that they implement in the portal down the road. Or maybe they even did, and I don't know how to, but...
You don't like jumping in and just seeing bot farm for 5 pages?
yeah, exactly. But no, that's...
Agree. Some of the modes I'd seen like a post the other day too, where it's like somebody made the mode from the trailer where like it's like the big bridge and you have to run up the hill, and it's like, oh, that's funny, but I'm not gonna be able to find it because it's so hard to find now.
Yeah, so I wish they would do some form of have some filter that, I don't know, I could find stuff like that easier, because I've already seen some stuff that people are doing that's really fun and creative, and I would love to mess around in that.
If that's your last one, I kind of want to piggyback on
That's pretty much it.
that I guess I don't really know how the legal aspect of it would work, but I have seen as a part of the portal thing that you should be able to build whatever, that people made like Shipment, the map from Call of Duty on there, and people get obliterated because it's 32 versus 32 on a tiny map. But they sent out notices to people that saying, oh, you made something that's from like another game or whatever, it could result in a ban, which that's not right. And I don't know how that would, like, could Call of Duty even like sue somebody because you made something that looks like our map? Like, it's such a weird thing.
I'm pretty sure I have seen they're already taking those down, so I'm sure it's some, which, like, that's the hard part, is like, so make Shipment that doesn't look like Shipment but has the same layout or something like that. I don't know if you can kind of get a because I know the guy that made the Shipment map was going to make Fire Range from Black Ops 1, I think it was, but I love that map. So if I could play that map in Battlefield, I would love that. But
yeah, that'd be fun on a little TDM. But either way, if you don't have any other negatives, I would rather jump into the positives because I know that that's where you and me are really kind of thriving with this.
Yeah, I honestly had to think really hard to find negatives.
My first big one, and this is going to come off as like slander against the Call of Duty people, which it absolutely is. And I play Warzone religiously. I play it a ton, but I don't want Battlefield to turn into Call of Duty. But there's tons of Call of Duty people coming over and big streamers that are just looking for the content. They're clip farming. They're like, oh, this game, this game. And it's like, go fuck yourself. Just go back to Call of Duty. Like, don't try to turn this into that. I'm glad that when the beta first came out, they had some Call of Duty style movement. It was a lot faster. People are jumping around corners, bunny hopping and shooting. That's not what Battlefield is. They've dialed that back, and I feel like it's a perfect medium right now. I love it. Such a good place.
And that's been my big thing, because I've loved COD for a long time, still love COD for zombies and campaign, but the multiplayer is just, it's too spazzy is the best way I can kind of put it. I don't want dolphin diving and sliding around corners, so that's what I've always loved with Battlefield, is a little more slower, meticulous, and you're kind of, so yeah, I think they toned it down. Battlefield, I mean, the beta I didn't hate, but I love it so much more since they fixed it.
Yeah, no, it's way better. It's exactly where it needs to be. And then taking that a step further, the same people are complaining about the bloom when you're shooting a gun. And for those of you that don't play, when you're shooting on this game, your bullets, especially the longer you shoot, will kind of have almost a randomized pattern, and that's something that you have to work on, is being good with that gun. It's not Call of Duty where every gun is a laser beam, and I love that because it turns the game into what's not laser beams. If I'm shooting at somebody at long range, you have to learn how to pepper those shots.
Yep, or the LMG, like, mount to something, you know what I mean? Exactly. Or like, put a bipod on it. Like, yeah, it's just, I don't want every game, every gun feeling super samey and all that. Like, they all play different, so play differently with them.
I do love the weapon variation. Like, everything just feels unique. It feels good. I feel like, and again, it's such a breath of fresh air moving away from Call of Duty 2, because everything feels like you could use whatever you want to. Some are better than others, but there's not a hard meta. And I hate to, because I turn on YouTube, because I watch a lot of YouTube every day, you see those same Call of Duty people going over to Battlefield now, like, use this is the meta. And it's like, no, you can use really anything on here. There might be something, I get, there's always a hard meta of something that should be better than everything else, but I see people using everything. I use everything.
Yep. Yeah, and that's one of the things, that was one of my positives, was, again, the weapons. Like, playing 2042 specifically, I love leveling up different guns, and I max one out, and then I'll switch on to something else and have fun with that, and that's a lot of the longevity for Battlefield with me. And in 2042, there was a couple guns that were okay, but that was it. I didn't really have a bunch of different guns I fell in love with, and so far, I've almost every gun I've tried in Battlefield 6, I've really enjoyed. I mean, I'm a big SMG guy, but, like, even then, I've tried 4 or 5 different SMGs, and I plan on, at least unlocking all the attachments on those, but...
I would say it's night and day so much better than Battlefield 2042.
I
fell off of Battlefield 2042 hard. I fell off of Battlefield 5 hard. I felt like the last time I was really in love with the Battlefield was 1.
Yep. And I think 1 was really good. It just didn't have the lasting. Like, this is the first one I know I'm going to drop hundreds of hours in this one. I haven't done that since Battlefield 4, probably.
But a big part of why that lasting power is going to be, the combat feels so good. It feels better than ever right now, from the gunplay, the movement, even though we might complain about some of the maps playing it safe, the map design overall feels good. Even if I have to go from A to B and there's a field in the middle, there's lots of little cover, there's little divots, there's lots of little things, so you're not, there is open areas, but I like that it does feel very cover based. So now when I'm fighting somebody, like they have something to hide, it's not just a shooting gallery of people running towards me.
Yeah. And that's, I guess that kind of combines a few of, I can combine a few of my positives into just immersion.
Yeah, go for it.
It's just, it's back. Battlefield's back in the sense of it's just, you're running down the street, there's tanks shooting at you, there's parts of the wall blowing up and all that. So that was one of my main things, is the destruction is back. They've been moving away from it for so long, and that's what makes Battlefield special to me. Oh, somebody's camping in that building? Blow the building up.
Yes.
Oh, someone, and stuff like that. And so it's between the destruction, which is probably honestly my biggest positive since they've been moving away from it, but I'm so glad that's back. And then there's just little things that if you guys don't know, or if you don't know, like the in-world mic, which is essentially when you're talking in squad, you can hear directionally where your squad mates are. And then if they get far enough away, it sounds like they're over a mic, talking. Yeah. It's like stuff like that. Or I changed my the audio, the gun sounds, whatever, to War Tapes Val, which is
the sound
very aggressive
is
listening
amazing.
is what it stands for, which I didn't know. But it's like just stuff like that. I just love getting lost in it and having those, cheesy but Battlefield-only moments. And it's like they really do have so many of those.
Dude, it's so good. There's times, too, where I love being in a building and I'm just firing off rounds and hearing the bullets hit the wood. The sound design's so good. It's so much better with the War Tapes VAL. And it's loud. And it's a very loud game, but I could still hear someone's footsteps if they're coming around a corner or whatever. I don't feel like it's getting lost with anything unless there's like a tank or something coming. Piggybacking off of that, too, is... like you were saying, the destruction feels good, but what's even better is after you do destroy something, all the particle effects, the dust that's coming up from it, the things that are falling over, even other things. Like, I love throwing smoke grenades because they actually work. Mm-hmm. It works really well to where, even so, watching it dissipate looks good. Just all these little things, like you said, it comes down to the immersion. It's all these things to add up and make it feel like just that much better.
Yep, and I think that's what some people that are just hopping into Battlefield for the first time, they're used to that Call of Duty mentality where it's very competitive and all about KD and all that, and it's like a lot of Battlefield is just go in there and have fun, you know what I mean? It's just the going in and having fun and just, and it's nice because, like, my wife plays and she's, not the best shooter, but she's playing medic and she's just running around doing medic stuff, resin people and all that, and it's like she's having a blast. Or you love vehicles, get in a vehicle. You do, I just love that variety. So the combat, gameplay doesn't get stale to me because there's just so many different. Pick how you like to play and play that way. And 9 out of 10 times you're still helping the team. You're still doing what you need to do.
One of my other big ones, my biggest favorite, and it's something I think I'd gushed about before, but I think it needs to be a permanent mechanic moving forward, is the drag revive. Whoever came up with that is one of the best mechanics that they've ever added to Battlefield. Because I love dragging people around a corner, or sometimes you'll see somebody that you knocked and their teammates dragging them, so you're trying to revive your guy first to get to safety and then start shooting at each other and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It just creates so many funny, unique, really good situations, and it's just so nice.
Mm-hmm. No, that's one of my favorite new features they added.
And I think my last thing is, it seems like they've been very vocal. They've already made changes for the community. I like, too, that they have more stuff coming forward. They've already announced, too, the Battle Royale comes out on the 28th. There's also a new map that's coming out on the 28th. And then at the start of November on the 18th, there is going to be another new map with some new modes that they've showed off, like the Search and Destroy. They've already been showing off some of those new maps. So it seems like they got that content pipeline already kind of working OT that I'm like, okay, cool, perfect. Like, this is so nice, just so that way you don't feel like you're just only getting that rush of like, all right, it's a new game and it's already wearing off. There's already so much more to be looking forward to.
Yeah, and I'll just rapid fire because I know we're kind of running short on time, but like for one, just a stable launch. As somebody who's played every Battlefield, this is by far the most stable they have. I mean, even the best Battlefields come out and they were trash for a while, just, servers and stuff. Snipers feel incredible again.
Yes.
You aren't launching a potato, they feel like they should again. I love that. Biggest thing that I hated with 2042 game modes. They actually have more than 2 game modes
Yes.
launched. Like, bring back all the domination and squad death and
Bring back capture the flag, please.
Oh yeah, like, so that I love that, because the super big conquest was cool for a little bit, but after a while it's like I want to play something different. You can't, you know, unless you jump in the portal. But I guess that was pretty much it. But yeah, God, I'm so happy as a longtime Battlefield fan. I'm so happy it's back. It feels so. I've been craving this, wanting this for so long.
It's
like
so
10
nice.
years.
If you go on Instagram, if you go on YouTube, there's tons of these Battlefield is back moments, or only in Battlefield moments, that aren't some dude flying around with a wingsuit, because now we're back to these operators with these boots on the grounds. It feels so good to play again. And I don't think, obviously, it's not just you and me, because I wrote down a couple little things here, that when this game launched, it had already sold 7 million copies, and its peak high on Steam was already over 750,000 concurrent at one time players, and that's just on Steam alone. So this game, people are loving it.
Yeah, it blows my mind. After playing the beta and feeling how good it was, I was like, okay, this is going to be successful, but I was not expecting, honestly, I was not expecting it to be this successful, which makes me happy, but yeah, it's blown me away.
I'm excited for more. Is there anything else you want to throw in there?
Battlefield's back. It makes me so happy.
For any guys that may be sitting on the fence, definitely get out there and check it. Hit us up. Jump in with us, because we're playing like every day, at least every other day. I'm loving this game. If you're not playing it, you are absolutely missing out. Now is the perfect time to jump in, more than any time. And with that being said, I'm Andrew. This is my boy, Devin Collins. And we'll catch you guys next time.
See you guys.
See ya.